Hello, my curious souls. Welcome in or welcome back. My name is Amanda. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your time and energy with me today. Curious where everyone is tuning in from. I here am on Vancouver Island in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. And this is where I have been born and raised. Well, BC, the south coast of BC, was where I was born and raised. And recently moved to Vancouver Island approximately 2.5 years ago and have been enjoying it. It's been a beautiful change of pace as opposed to living in the city. So it's been lovely to be closer to nature and having a little bit more downtime to decompress after a week of work. So, love to know where you are tuning in from. Feel free to share in the comments below. And in today's Pick a Card Tarot reading, we are going to take a look at letting go of the past, something from your past that is maybe currently affecting your present, and how to move forward into the future. Maybe what actions you need to take or not. And we'll get guidance and advice on how you can navigate that. I wanted to continue this theme of transformation in another video because we are leaving the old in 2024 and entering the new in 2025. If you are interested in another transformation video, there's another one that you can watch. I will put the link for that in the description box and in the top right corner of the video here. So today we have 3 soul paths for you to choose from if you feel ready to dive into your reading. The timestamps for each one of these soul paths are in the description box. However, for those who like an introduction, I will do that right now. So for Soul Path 1, we have the Unfolding Path Tarot with the Kingsman Turquoise. For Soul Path 2, we have Tarot Over the Rainbow with the Purple or Pink Crackle Quartz. And for Soul Path 3, we have the Magical Creatures Tarot with the Angelite Stone. So when you feel called and or ready, use the timestamps in the description to jump straight into your reading, and we will see you over there. Hello, Soul Path 1, welcome into your reading. You chose the Kingsman Turquoise with the Unfolding Path Tarot. Before we hop into your reading, I would like to get an oracle card to get a feel for a message that wants to come through first before we get into the tarot. I hope you are all doing well out there. So, Soul Path 1, any messages that want to come forward regarding what they need to let go of, something from their past, and how to move forward. 1 card, please, for Soul Path 1. Usually when this happens, they want me to pull another deck, but that's okay. 1 card came out. The Fates. Okay. So I wonder if whatever is being let go of is, I want to say, fated to happen, or you are not meant to carry this into your future. I don't know if this is you letting go of something to enter into a dream or achieve some kind of dream or goal you have, and something from your past is only proving to be an anchor. I'm seeing an anchor in my mind's eye, so it is anchoring you to something that is preventing you from moving forward. I'm seeing a strong man, and you know how some of them, I've seen some of them, and I don't know if this is like an official thing, but they're really large men that pull trucks and trailers, and they're chained up to these things, and they're trying to move forward, and they're trying to move this tractor or trailer or big rig truck with the pure power of their body. And that's what I'm seeing. But this person that's pulling this thing isn't moving. So they're walking, but they're not progressing. So I don't know what that might be for you. And that could be some and not all, but I do believe that what you're walking towards is something that is a big dream that you have, or something that you were almost meant to follow, a path that you're meant to follow for your personal growth, professional growth, spiritual growth. We do have the number 17 here, so this is beginnings, but having to overcome some kind of setback as well, or refocus on a priority or a purpose before moving ahead. So getting over that hump. And when we add that number up, it is a number 8 as well. So you could be moving on from a cycle or learning some karmic lessons. And so there could be some cycles that you were letting go of from your past and moving on from those cycles officially. So let's get into the tarot and see what it has to say about that. First, I will get your energy. 2 cards, please, for Soul Path 1. Okay, Ace of Pentacles, and we have the 6 of Pentacles. It was in the sideways position. And let's see what's... So there's definitely a goal or a business or a financial prospect that you're trying to achieve here. There could also be good health and you wanting to find ways to offer something to the world that you can feel good about, that maybe helps others, that maybe heals others, and you are receiving something in return, whether that is simply just the satisfaction. For some others of you, I do feel like this is monetary. You are trying to turn your gifts into a business or into something that you can earn money off of, something that you can truly have pride in doing, feel good about doing, to also give and receive. So you are offering a service and receiving financial reward as a result. This feels very purpose-led. It feels like it's something you feel called to do and maybe have been afraid to step into before. But just like the Fates card, we have the Judgment card, which is also about hearing a calling and following that without fear. I think it's in your vision at the moment, but you're not currently seeing it in the way that you would like to see it, or in the way that you expect to see it. I think you're on your way, but you may be at the very beginning stages of this. So again, that 1 is coming through, that 7 is coming through. There's something here, and that could be this Judgment card here. That is the thing you have to overcome as your challenge. Now, I do think the 6 of coins is on its way into the upright, but there's something that needs to happen, whether there's simply just more time that needs to pass, more experience that needs to be gained, having more patience in some kind of process, or finding a more truer alignment. With this Judgment card, there's definitely a calling here that you're following. And I feel, again, that it is some kind of destined calling, something that you felt called to do for a long time, but may not have moved towards until recently. And maybe this is also part of your challenge, is that you have to work on how you receive money for your efforts. And how you feel about that, more importantly. Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of rewards in whatever is in your future, so you have to be comfortable receiving just as much as you give to other people. Now, there could also be something here that you're overcoming that is quite significant in your life at the moment, or will be up and coming, where there's some challenge that you have to move through first. And this is Phoenix rising energy. So it's not just about hearing a calling and following it, but it is about moving beyond, above and beyond adversity, above and beyond any challenges that you're currently facing. So I do believe that this is a bit profound as it pertains to your movement forward, because I feel there's some old beliefs or maybe even some old values that need to be shed because they aren't in alignment with this higher destined fated path. And we have more stars here, so definitely I feel abundance. So let's get some more information about this and see what that might be about. For Soul Path 1 Spirit, give us more information about the past or what needs to be changed, transformed, let go of. For Soul Path 1, please. Okay, so we have the Ace of Cups and the Four of Wands in reverse. I'm definitely getting a relationship or some kind of close, intimate connection, your foundations, something to do with your personal foundations as it relates to your heart-centered connections. This could be somebody that you live with, whether that is a family member or a partner. And something is amiss. I feel like your heart is open, but what is in your world, in reality, is not as harmonious, settled, secure as you wish it to be. Now, that could simply be your home. The location that you find yourself in is not very inspiring. Your environment is not a place, or maybe the location and where you live is not the place that you see yourself in the long term. So it's almost like you have to have some spiritual foundations figured out first in order to overcome this challenge that you might be facing so that you can chase some new things. Let's get some more information. So the World in reverse. Definitely there's a tying down of something. You're being tied down. So again, coming back to that earlier message, I feel that anchor. You're being anchored somewhere that you're not 100% fully in love with, even though you want to be. And I feel like, again, your heart is open, but the reality of it is that you're not quite feeling solid or secure in that. And you may be preventing this from ending, or may be resistant to ending this because it's challenging, it's tough. Maybe there's a lack of trust or a fear of ending it, fearing that there won't be anything better, fearing what will happen, fearing what happens when you're on your own, for example, if you are partnered with somebody and you want to separate. However, this could just mean that you're worried about leaving the comforts of home, generally speaking. Maybe this opportunity or something you're being called to is asking you to step way out of your comfort zone. So maybe there is a need to indulge in worldly travel. Maybe there's some kind of risk or adventure that you need to take in order to fully step into this energy. But it requires a different mindset, a different way of feeling about this. And that could be part of this judgment energy, is that there's some old and dead energy that has to be officially let go of and moved on from. Maybe some false spiritual foundations or some false beliefs, or some energy that isn't giving you a sense of security. Whether that's a person, an environment, a location, a situation. So let's get some clarifiers for this. What is this Ace of Cups? Four of Swords. Okay. There is a feeling that you want some kind of respite, or you need to recover from something. Recover from past heartbreaks is kind of what I'm feeling here. And maybe you haven't given yourself the appropriate amount of time to face that, but you are almost looking for the next love to maybe fill that empty space. But I feel like there needs to be a recovery period, or a coming to terms with, or an acceptance, or an official letting go of a past relationship, so that you can fully open yourself up to what's next. And that doesn't mean to go out and find the next person. You want to make sure that it's the right person. This is about finding your counterpart that will align with your values, that you can give but also receive from in equal measure, that will be supportive. And of course, there's no perfect relationship, but there's some foundational roots that need to be instilled, or at least understood first, in order for you to turn this Four of Wands in the upright, in order for you to know what exactly it is that you want in your own personal life, in your own environment, in your own soul and spirit, and also what you want to attract in friendships, in partnerships, whether that's romantic, platonic, professional. It all starts with looking at past wounds, maybe how you love, how you give love, how you receive love, and what value you place on yourself in relationships, what value you place on money, what value you place on experiences with others. Why is this Four of Wands in reverse? Ace of Swords in reverse. I don't know why that was so tough for me to say, but again, there's a trepidation, there's a hesitancy, there's a lack of clarity here as it pertains to either your commitment to somebody on a spiritual level, or your foundations with somebody, or maybe even yourself as well. The things that you kind of sink your teeth into, especially when things get challenging. What are those spiritual practices that you go to when things become unclear, when decisions aren't really at your fingertips? There's something here that is giving you a lack of clarity and a little bit of a rocky foundation, and the two are kind of feeding into each other here. So I feel like part of this energy is to find that clarity, and I think that respite, or that recovery, or that stepping back, that setback, is asking you to step back, to look at something and see something from a bigger picture, and not just from the heart space, but also from within the mind as well. But we have to clear the mind first and block out the distraction, block out the noise in order to hear our own inner voice. And we can do that by stepping away from the fray, getting a bigger picture point of view. And then we have, speaking of decisions, the swords are the clarifying factors for all of these cards. Two of Swords in reverse, clarifying the world. So there's a decision that you've been hesitant to make, which is why this chapter has not yet come to a close. And it's a decision that I feel is going to be a tough decision for you to make, but I feel intuitively you know that you have to make it, even though on paper it might not make sense. And that could be why there's this lack of clarity coming through, and a resistance to making decisions, because you feel whatever this deep feeling is, whatever this calling that's pulling you into a different direction, there's a fear that it might be wrong, or there's a fear that if I close this, then I can never go back, or I can never change my mind. And that might be the case, but new opportunities will open up. as a result of the choices that you make. And you can only follow your heart. And I think you have that kind of already down pat. This is about clearing the mind and stepping into trust, self-trust, trusting your intuition, trusting what you know, trusting what you feel. And I feel like it's going to be, we talked about abundance and prosperity and health, wealth, feeling really good in one's environment, in one's body. And here it is with the King of Pentacles. So you are on the right track with your current energy. It's just that your environment is not quite reflecting that yet. So your heart is speaking to you, I feel, in a very significant way, but the way forward is unclear. You're not quite sure how it's all going to work out. I will say that the only way to move through this energy is to take one decision at a time based on what your heart is telling you to do. And once your mind has been given the opportunity to take that break, to find that respite, I'm getting a lot of meditative energy here, where we are connecting the heart, the mind, and soul in a moment of stillness or multiple moments of stillness, because that may clarify things for you, even though it may not make the path forward easier. It's going to make it a little more clear for you. The Pentacle energy is also very slow-moving energy. So I feel you're almost stepping into that, and that will prove quite beneficial for you. There's a stagnancy that cannot sustain for much longer. So if there are decisions you're holding off because you're waiting for clarity, I think if you connect in with your heart, you're going to know what the decision needs to be in order for you to move forward. There is a cycle that is asking to be closed, and that requires a decision, and it may not be a very clear decision, but it's a decision nonetheless. It could feel very conflicting for you, but it's a decision nonetheless that I feel you're being asked to make. And to me, this isn't a surprise to you. I feel like this is in your full awareness, because your energy has shifted from whatever this is that is currently hanging around to something new, something that may be more beneficial, rewarding, reciprocal, abundant. And you have 2 4s here and 2 aces here, 3 aces. So there's significance in those aces. There's lots of new beginnings kind of happening all at once, but that also means that a restructuring of your foundations are happening as a result, or maybe the beginnings are happening because of the restructuring, vice versa. But all in all, I feel like these new opportunities, these new foundations are the platform for which your future is going to be built off of, and the choices you make now will affect the new path. Let's get a final oracle message to end your reading. For Soul Path 1, final message for them to send them on their way. Strongest guide, the illuminated path. So go where the path is being illuminated, and by illumination, it's all about where you feel guided, where you feel excited, lit up, fueled, inspired. Maybe you are being called to be a guide at some point in the future. And what's interesting about this card is it talks about your personal path, and that it's encouraging you to form a deeper awareness of the choices that are coming up in your life. And we see that here. The wolf is a symbol of strength and freedom, and this is the core message of this card. You are free to create the path that lies before you, and you have the strength to see it through, no matter which path you take. It's time to seek the wisdom of your own inner guide. Meditate and ask if a new or different direction regarding business, family, or personal matters is called for. Then muster up the courage and self-trust to take the necessary steps forward. And I do almost wonder if that's why these two are in reverse, is that there's a lack of trust here. Lack of trust in the way you're thinking, your decision-making skills, etc. This card could indicate the coming of a new teacher into your life as well. It may be someone who advises you in a specific personal area, such as education, nutrition, or finances. Interesting that the Pentacles came out here with that message. Or it could be someone who pursues a more spiritual path. Let yourself be open to the guidance and inspiration such new teachers can bring, together with the wisdom of your own inner voice. You will find the path before you becoming illuminated, and you will be ready to take your next steps with the clarity and purpose your eternal life desires. And there's an affirmation that goes with this card. Feel free to write it down. I direct my own destiny in every way. I open myself up to the loving guidance I receive from others, from the universe, and within. And that's a beautiful wrap up to all of the messages that came through today in your reading. And even is a nice little bookend to the oracle card that came out today. So this is what I have for you, Soul Path 1. I do hope that was helpful and it resonated with you. Feel free to share in the comment section what messages stood out, what imagery stood out, and what you're taking away from this reading today. With gratitude, I'm sending you my love. Stay curious, and I'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 2. Welcome into your reading. So you chose the Tarot Over the Rainbow with the pink crackle quartz. Before we get into the tarot, let's get an oracle card to open the reading today. Speaking to Soul Path 2 regarding what to let go of from the past and how to move forward. Truth be told. Okay, so there's a heart opening here. And there's also some truth being revealed. There's a vulnerability with that. When you're speaking your truth and you're opening your heart, there is a vulnerability. So I almost wonder if that is something, I'm seeing a cage right now over this particular area. And so it's almost like part of the message is to remove some of those blocks or walls that have been put up for very good reason. There's some healing that might be required to open that up a little bit so that you can be open to new experiences or new people. That does not have to be romantic. But I feel like you're looking for some kind of new experience or richer experience or a different experience. And in order to do that, there is a heart opening that needs to happen. There is a vulnerability that you have to get comfortable with. I feel like there are some in the collective here that have really personalized some things that have happened to them, which has caused the walls to go up and the cages to lock, metaphorically speaking. So I almost wonder if this is now the time to start developing that sense of safety within oneself and to open yourself up a little bit, understanding how and when to do that, with whom, so that you can still protect yourself and know where those boundaries lie, knowing if you get yourself into a situation that someone does not treat you with respect or really respect that vulnerability, that you have an exit plan or you have a way to put those boundaries back up with that particular person. So it's not about completely walling things off. It's about learning how to turn it off and on, and to varying degrees is kind of what I'm feeling there. And there is 14 could be a significant number. There's a 14 here. When we add that up, that is a 5, which can speak to change. It can speak to overcoming challenges to see that change and facing fears that we may have been scared to face before. And this feels, again, there's that vulnerability, that sense of fear that's coming through of I'm scared to show myself truly and authentically to the world, to certain people in my life. There could be a good reason. So again, there's a little bit of discernment coming through with that. But I feel overall, it's about creating that confidence and that safety within oneself, to be able to put those protective barriers up, but not so much that it blocks the light. Now, we do have a 1 and a 4 as well, so this is about doing things in a different way, doing new things, opening yourself up to new opportunities, as well as having really solid foundations and stability in your life. So I feel like that could be part of the future that you're moving into, is that this is helping you open up to, again, new experiences, new beginnings, and creating a new foundation from which to jump off from. But it may not come easy, because I feel there are some past things that have to be dissolved, and I am seeing that cage being dissolved, but it's going to be up to you to understand how to do that. So we're just getting an energy for you right now for Soul Path 2, and then we will look at the challenge. Oops, way too many. So we have the Queen of Pentacles. Let's just talk about that for the moment. This is your stability, your sense of security, comforts, nurturing, home. Now, what's interesting is we kind of did talk about that. And maybe because it's in your current energy, I'm wondering if that's where what you're currently doing. I feel like this is something that is not unknown to you. It's not a secret. It is something that you are working towards. So this could be somebody's confirmation that whatever you're doing right now, continue to keep going, even if you might have seen some setbacks. Because I feel like you're really breaking down some illusions that you have carried emotionally. And this could be people that have imposed their emotions on you, that you're now understanding, hey, this isn't mine. This isn't how I truly feel about myself, about this person, about that situation. So there's a lot of emotions that I feel are being released at this time. And I love that that's kind of pairing with that, because it's like you're coming into some kind of emotional truth. And so I do think that it's kind of a keep going message, because you're not living in some kind of, I don't want to say fantasy, because that's not the right word, but you're no longer living in an illusion that was built for you. You are now coming into your truth, and you're telling your truth because you're understanding that truth a little bit better. So one more. And I feel you do want to feel a little more secure and stable within your energy, within your body. You want to feel more grounded. And the challenge is the 7 of Swords. Okay, so I feel like the challenge is that in your past, it has been very hard for you to be truthful with people because of who have surrounded you. And that may not have been by choice. That could have been within family units, within working environments. You cannot necessarily choose those people. So that could be the challenge, is that those people are still kind of hovering around. They're still in your energy field, and it's about trying to understand your truth so that you know what to pick up and what to put down, which is, I feel, is the work that you're doing currently. And yeah, so the challenge is to keep that in kind of the top of mind or front of mind when you come across people that have either hurt you in the past and haven't taken accountability for it, or you're just getting a feeling like you can't open yourself up to this person. That's okay. You don't have to open yourself up to everybody. You shouldn't give everybody a VIP pass. So again, that discernment is coming through. There could be some people that are not necessarily being authentic with you either, but are fully expecting you to be open and fully honest with them, but they can't really accept that truth when you do come to share that. So it's about being authentic, but being authentic with the right people, and understanding when that truth is not going to really be understood, accepted, or allowed without some kind of conflict. You do have 2 sevens here as well. So that is a very powerful number. It is a very divine number, and 2 sevens could be a synchronicity for you, but also it speaks to refocusing your energy somewhere else, refocusing what's important, refocusing and finding a more clear path ahead. It can even speak to setbacks as well, and sort of an assessment of things. So you could be really moving through an assessment at this time and trying to figure out how to let go of the old stuff. So let's look at that. Okay, so it could be in your social networks. We do have the 3 of Cups here. It could be people that you surround yourself in. And we have the King of Cups in the reverse, which could be either a boss or a father figure that are around you. Again, this could be work as well. So maybe there's something about enjoying your coworkers, but not necessarily getting along with your boss, or having a really heavy-handed boss who maybe only cares about money and doesn't care about doing things right, or really considering the morals or feelings. So yeah, there's something there. What else? Whoops. 4 of Cups in the upright. Yeah, there's something here. I feel like it's disappointing you, because no matter what you're investing your emotions in, it doesn't feel like it's enough. Now, that could be a working situation. Again, it could be within a family unit or your social networks. But there's definitely something within one of those 3 areas of life that needs to be detached from, or let go of, or assessed and reconsidered. So I'm not sure if there's a new way of connecting with this person. I feel like you might be approaching a specific person or a situation with a lot of heart, but they are a little selfish, or a little bit tough to, I want to say, nail down, or really tough to read, tough to really connect with, because they are kind of a little too grounded in materialism, or grounded in values that you don't agree with. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there, and because of that, you can't truly be honest with this person, and maybe you have picked up a lot of emotional responsibility to do some kind of work to make this connection be a little stronger, or be a certain way, and it's not working. So I feel you almost have to let that go. You have to let go of what's not working. You have to say no when you're feeling like a no. And you have to say yes to the right situations, the right people, the right environments, etc. Because this person may have quite a big hold over you, and a little bit more power and control than they should. So yeah, that's a tough one. Let's see, what else? Let's get some clarifiers now. And this could be clarifying these, or as part of your guidance and advice. 3 of Cups. We won't take that one. We have the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. So I do feel there's a new opportunity here to do something in a new way, but it's not quite ready to be hatched yet. I feel like, for 2 reasons. I feel like there's some work that still needs to be done. There's some assessment, there's some review, there's some building up of your own, maybe your own self-confidence or sense of security. But also, too, I feel like if this is a social network, I do feel like there are a lot of people in that social connection or social network that you love to be around. So by disconnecting from this one person means that you disconnect from people that you do enjoy. That could also apply to a working situation as well. So even though underneath you want to follow a new path or do something differently and maybe look for new opportunities, I feel like there's a little bit of either a fear or just a not wanting to, as dissatisfying as that may be, because you are truly connected to the people that are loving and supportive and vice versa. King of Pentacles in reverse, Eight of Wands. There's a guidance coming through here because this person feels a little unstable, and I don't think that's going to change. I'm hearing old dogs don't learn new tricks, and this is, I mean, that's kind of a blanket universal statement that may or may not be true, but in this case, I do feel like they're stuck in their ways. They have no inclination or aspiration to change or to do things differently because they want to do what they want to do. And they have their values and their beliefs set. They are set in their ways. And so this Eight of Wands feels like moving away from this person or this energy, or not interacting in the same way. This could also mean communicating how you're feeling. And you may have already done that already. If you haven't and you've just been feeling certain things, then that communication may be helpful, at least to share that you are looking for other opportunities, or you're unable to stay connected to this person because of certain reasons. So communication could be quite helpful, but it's not a negotiation. It should be communication for the sake of letting them know this is my decision and this is why, but there's nothing that they can necessarily do to sway that decision moving forward. And that the decision, I feel like once a decision has been made, that you're going to move on from it relatively quickly. You could move quite far away from this person as well. There's also a feeling of taking a break, but once that intention is set, the changes are going to happen quite quickly. And we have the Ten of Wands in reverse, which clarifies the Four of Cups. And again, this feels like more guidance coming through. You cannot take on the responsibility of other people, especially when it comes to emotions and trying to change the dynamic, especially when it comes to two people. When there's two people, both people have to come together and do things as a unit versus one person carrying all the weight. I do see you offloading a lot of burdens, possibly because of some communication, possibly because of some choices that you are making in the future about new opportunities, or the things that you accept, the things that you reject, etc. And this feels like the end of some kind of cycle, the end of something that has weighed quite heavy on you. It's been quite burdensome, and you have held up the responsibility up to this point to carry this burden, to make things okay, to appease this person, or to do a certain job really well, regardless of, how this person might respond. And if they do respond, then you take on the fault, you take on the blame, you take on the responsibility. And that's quite disappointing. There's no reward in that. There's no appreciation in that. And so whatever work that you're doing kind of behind the scenes, I feel keep going, because it will lead you to a new place. We've got the Page of Cups at the bottom of the deck, which is a really beautiful energy because it is starting out on a new path, not necessarily as something brand new, but you're choosing a new path and using your previous past experiences to guide the way forward. You're leading with your heart. And I think that really comes out very clearly in whatever situation that you're in. So don't lose that. I feel like that is a beautiful building block to the security and the stability and grounding yourself in what is, and then creating a plan of how to adapt or how to move on from this. And what I love about this energy is that pages in the Rider-Waite-Smith are children energy. It's youthful energy. It's not worried about making mistakes energy. It's being open-hearted and open-minded about learning. And what I love about this is that this is a huge giant with a tiny little cup. So it's almost like I feel you are going to be starting to play a little bit of a bigger role, and you're going to not play small anymore. You're not going to allow situations or other people really determine your worth and how you feel about yourself, the direction you take, and to discount your ideas that you might have. So I feel like you're going to be entering a new phase of playfulness and being able to really be open and heartfelt and imaginative and creative, and really using that sensitivity and your big, beautiful heart to move yourself forward. But again, it's about closing something off and softening to open to something new, and not putting up the boundaries for every single thing, but again, being more discerning about how you do that and who you do that with. And yeah, I just feel like you're coming into some kind of new reality that's so much better than maybe what you're currently experiencing. So Soul Path 2, final message to send them on their way, please. Thank you. Okay, Divine Masculine. We have a number 8, Electric Active Power. Now, this could speak to cycles with it being a number 8. It can also speak to manifestations and bringing manifestations to life, seeing the harvest after a time of review, a time of assessment. And I'm coming back to this 8 of Wands here because this is that divine masculine energy of setting that intention and taking action towards that particular goal, and then finally seeing it come to life. So this is your manifestation and your actions coming into your reality and really seeing change, positive change. So it's about using that divine masculine power of intention, planning, and action to really make the changes that you're looking to see here. Because I feel you have the divine feminine on point. It might be a little bit wounded at this time, but I feel like once you come out of this situation, there will be some healing that happens. But I feel right now it is about stepping into that power of the divine masculine in order to move yourself out of this and into something that's a little more balanced, playful, creative, and lovely. So this is what I have for you, Soul Path 2. I do hope that resonated and was helpful for you. Feel free to comment below and let me know what messages were landing for you or what imagery really spoke to you. I always love to hear that. And with gratitude, I'm sending you love. Stay curious, and I'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 3. Welcome into your reading. You chose the Magical Creatures Tarot with the Angelite Stone. Before we get into your reading, let's get a card, an oracle card, to open your reading today about what to let go of and how to move forward from that, how to move into your future. And I've chosen this theme because it's been a very strong theme. I felt that it was very appropriate to start this year as we are coming out of an old year and stepping into the new. So number 8, community. There could be some people in your life that you will be connecting with more in 2025. I feel like part of you letting go of something is going to have a direct correlation to the community that you find yourself among or in. Could be the people you surround yourself with as friends, the time that you spend with family, if at all. But I really feel like your growth and you letting go of something from the past is going to involve community. And I'm not sure to what capacity. What else am I getting with that? There may have been a fear in the past. I'm seeing the Hermit in my mind's eye. There may have been a fear of connecting with people, connecting with community, maybe stepping out of your comfort zone of being in your own space. I'm seeing somebody that's very independent. Maybe they live on their own, or they simply just stay with their very close-knit circle of friends and have a little bit of a fear of stepping into new communities or social circles. There could be some social anxiety among some in the collective here. So I almost wonder if that's part of what to let go of, is the fear of stepping into new communities, new situations, meeting new people, so that you can see some expansion happen in your life on a social aspect and maybe on a spiritual aspect. There's a feeling that you're looking for abundance, but in order to get that, you have to get out and find that, is the feeling that I'm getting. You have to stick your neck out, quite literally with the giraffe here. So there might have been a fear of doing that before, because maybe there has been some past hurts. I'm also hearing coming home. You're coming home to something, or would like to come home to something. So there's a comfort. And home doesn't necessarily mean your physical home. Home could be soul family, where again, you're connecting with a new group of people and you're feeling really supported. You're really feeling welcomed and seen. Being seen is something that I feel is a hope and a fear. So let's get into the tarot and see what it has to say. For Soul Path 2, please. Soul Path 3. Soul Path 3. Let's see, current energy for Soul Path 3, 2 cards. These cards are so slippery, they're tough to shuffle. Okay. One more, please. Okay. What do I do? Okay, I'm going to take the third card here as the challenge card. So we have the Two of Cups and we have the Hanged One. So I feel like your current energy, there could be, again, yes, okay, I do feel you and somebody else in connection. There's been some challenge or delays in seeing the results that you're looking to see, or maybe there has been some challenge in this particular connection for one reason or another. Maybe there's a desire for intimacy, but there has also been a fear of that as well. That could be on your part, but could also be on the other person's side as well. There's definitely a connection of two people here that I'm seeing. That doesn't have to be romantic. It can be you and a close family member, you and a close friend. I do see that it's a really nice friendship or connection or relationship, though. I just feel that it's in its earlier stages, even though you may have a long-term connection, so maybe you've been with them for 8 years. I feel like it has kind of stalled or stagnated at a certain, I don't want to say maturity level, but at a certain level. So maturity could have something to do with it, but I do feel that it has kind of stagnated, is the feeling that I'm getting there. So I almost feel that things have to be done a little bit differently in that dynamic so that there can be a new perspective gained, there can be growth, either on both sides or as two people here. I also forgot to mention that 8 could be a significant number for you, just a synchronistic number, or it could be your life path number or a birth month, a birth date, etc. So take all these numbers into consideration when it comes to that. But surrendering is also something that I'm seeing here. There could be one or both parties that have sort of let go and have just seen where things go and kind of stayed in the same routines. Again, just stagnancy is what I'm getting with that. So I think things need to be seen in a different way. There needs to be some switching up of something. Now, if this is not you and another person, this could be your desire for connection with another person, a soul connection with a friend, a close family member, or a romantic partner. or simply finding your soul family as well. So coming back to that community aspect, and maybe you have felt quite stagnant or delayed in finding that. So let's see what the challenge is. The Devil. Definitely some past attachments or past things. Could be beliefs, it could be behaviors, habits, values that have been hanging around that aren't necessarily helpful for you, that have been ruling your decisions, that have been instilling fear within you, that have even been things that are in your mind on repeat that come up when you think about intimate connections with other people, opening yourself up to a new community of people. What kind of thoughts come up? What kind of behaviors come out as a result? What kind of actions do you take or don't take? And I'd like to know where this little voice comes from. Whoops, because I feel like this is definitely from your past. I feel like this could be a person or a situation from your past that has really ingrained itself within the mind, within the heart, and has prevented you from moving forward with something or stepping out, sticking your neck out, if you will. And this little devil here is saying, no, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You're not good enough for that. There's something on repeat here that I'm seeing in my mind's eye, kind of like a record on repeat. So just bring awareness to that. What happens when you think about, I'm going to join a club of some kind? What kind of feelings bubble up? What kind of thoughts come through? And just bring awareness to that so you can understand, is that really what I think? Is that really what I feel? Or is this something from my past that is just on repeat that's coming through? And I think that's going to be a pretty significant and profound shift that you make in order to step into this new era that I feel you're ready to enter. So let's look at specifics on what to let go of, maybe as it pertains to this devil. Okay. Yeah. 9 of Swords. It's been a lot of, it's definitely something in your mind, and it's gotten to a point where you've stressed about it. It's created anxiety. You've been overthinking. That actually came out on the side. We have the Chariot. It's really thrown you off course. It's really thrown you off course. And we do have another 8 here. We have the 2 of Wands. So it's not only thrown you off course, but it has prevented you from making decisions for your future and thinking bigger, thinking more expansive, seeing the growth that you want to see. And I don't feel like this is a surprise, but there is a desire here that you have. And so I feel like what you need to let go of is this devil, but it requires you to bring awareness to how this devil has affected your path forward up until this point, so that you can consciously shift directions, to bring balance back in, to make new choices, to take action in a different new way. But it has possibly been something that has been on loop in your mind to the point now where it's habitual, where it has become your status quo, because these are swords. So it could create a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry, which has really prevented you and delayed your desire to meet new people, or to step into a new relationship, or forge a different or deeper relationship with somebody currently in your life. And with this Chariot card, luckily it's coming into the upright, so I feel like it's on its way, but it's stalled, just like this Hanged one is. It's waiting. I want to say it's waiting to be directed. It's waiting to be put back on the path. And only you can do that. But it requires awareness of what's happening within the mind. What's happening with how your mind is affecting your decisions and your way forward. I do feel that it's subconscious to you, so it may not be in your awareness yet, but that doesn't mean that it can't come up into your awareness. But it requires you to be really mindful in that present moment, to be observant of your mind. And that could be the shift that is required, is to simply bring observance rather than let your thoughts carry you away. Now, with the Hanged One, this could be stillness and meditation, to be able to observe your thoughts from a distance and to not let your thoughts move you along, but to pause before taking action, pause before making decisions, to give space between the thought and the action. And that's kind of what I'm feeling here. And that's sort of what I've learned in therapy when it comes to the runaway anxiety that we can have and the reactivity that we can have when we are triggered, when certain thoughts come up in our mind because of something that someone said, someone did, or simply, something that comes up within our mind, and we let our thoughts carry us away. But if we pause and we stop to take a step back, to breathe, to understand, and figure out, do I need to make a decision right in this moment? And to give space between the thought and the action, that can sometimes be a really great step into retraining that brain to not react based on something that comes up in the mind, especially when we are trying to change and adjust how we think and how we make decisions as a result of those thoughts, or not. So I'm really getting that's the advice, and letting go of how you're currently making decisions, how you're currently thinking, or getting swept up by thought. So 9 of Swords is the King of Cups in a sideways position. So again, there are a lot of cards here that are not quite committed to upright or reversed, but there's potential for them to kind of turn upright here, except for the Devil. He's meant to be in that sideways position. But the King of Cups, I feel like this might even be in your awareness of how your thoughts are affecting your emotional body and how much it can dysregulate you. With the King of Cups in the upright, he can manage these thoughts pretty well. The stressful thoughts are there, but it doesn't affect him on an emotional level because he's able to really transcend or understand the feelings that come up, knowing that they're currently safe and that there's some emotional management that happens when these thoughts come in. When he's in the reverse, though, he has a tough time really moving through his emotions, especially when they're not so great, especially when they are coming from a place of stress or fear or panic or worry. It's really tough to not be emotionally affected by these things. So I feel like that's part of the advice, is to really look at how your mind is affecting your emotions and how your emotions might be affecting your mind and vice versa, because there's an interplay here and it may not be a balanced interplay. So I think that is going to be a really significant point of letting something go from the past to bring in and usher something in and usher something new in that's going to change the outcome and move you towards what you desire. So why is this Chariot in the sideways position? And we'll get a little more advice too with that. Another sideways position. So yeah, I mean, both the Chariot and Temperance can speak to balance, because the Chariot has the subconscious and the conscious in equal balance, and therefore they can drive straight down the middle path and not be swayed by either one of those things. But when they're in reverse, one side is taking over and it's throwing them off course, throwing the Chariot off course. Sometimes even completely upsetting the apple cart and not being able to move at all. With the Temperance, it's similar, where it speaks to doing things in moderation. So again, we have that equilibrium coming in and that balancing coming in. But that takes patience. It takes trial and error. It takes practice. So if you're not there yet, and maybe you've tried and it just hasn't worked, it's going to take time. So give yourself time. Give yourself opportunities to make mistakes and have setbacks. That doesn't mean that it's not working. It simply means that it is. And you are just moving through that process and continuing to come back to that practice of rebalancing and restructuring how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how you're moving. So, and again, this one is in the sideways position, so it's not quite committed into the reverse. It's not quite committed in the upright, just like the Chariot. So I almost wonder if you've done some work in this area and maybe you haven't seen the results yet, so you're thinking it's not working. But I want you to compare yourself to maybe 5 years ago, and just to see the changes that you've made, as small as they might be, and understand that if you keep going, that more changes will happen over time, and these will eventually turn upright. And not to say that we'll never have setbacks once we've healed something, changed something, or adapted. It just, those setbacks and those mistakes are simply just opportunities to get us back on track again and remind us, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. Remembering all of those practices that we have learned, that we have implemented, and the changes that we've seen as a result, and to not let go of that, but to recommit. It's an opportunity to recommit to that path. Thank you. Look at that. Three of Wands in the upright. I feel like, okay, 8 of Cups in the upright at the bottom of the deck. So we can't make decisions from a place of fear, stress, anxiety, and expect to have really positive results, because we're moving from a place that isn't stable, that isn't secure, that isn't vibrating at the highest frequency. So we have to change that and make new decisions to manifest what it is that we truly desire, and understand that it will be challenging, but know that the outcome is going to be better than what we've experienced up to this point, especially if we're feeling a sense of stagnation and nothing that we're doing is really working. To continue to shift and transcend these fears, these stresses, these worries, and continue to dip your toe into new experiences and find communities, find people that can be of support to you. And with the 3 of Wands, it's the idea and the intention of where you want to go, the choice that you make that is aligned with that intention and with that highest good, that highest vibration, and then putting that action into play consistently over a period of time. Being patient for the results to come in. This isn't an instant gratification, especially when we're talking about changing old behaviors and habits that have been instilled in us or placed upon us or created as a result of a situation that we found ourselves in. That's going to take time to reprogram, to readjust and realign ourselves. It's kind of a multi-part process, and it may take a little time for you to figure out what that process looks like, but don't give up. Now, the 8 of Cups in the upright kind of tells me that you are moving away from a lot of emotions that don't serve you anymore, which is really lovely. And again, we have another number 8, which was on your community card. So again, I feel like it's emotional patterns that you're breaking, and you are willing to move away from those emotions in search for something better that feels more fulfilling for you, that feels a little more loving for you. And you're willing to take that risk, to move away from that, to move towards something, even if it's a little bit dark and unknown, even if you know you're going to have to face some challenges and obstacles, even if you know that there's going to be setbacks, because the reward at the end is going to be worth it, because you're finally seeing movement. is what I'm feeling there. You're going to finally see movement as a result of you having the desire and the intention, you making a plan or creating some kind of strategy for yourself to stay on track and continue to show up for yourself and that future goal. And then to put in action over a period of time so that you can move yourself toe by toe slowly towards how you want to feel and the new horizons that you want to discover. So let's get one more final oracle card to end your reading. And you got Sacred Action. I love that. And we have the cheetah. So this almost feels like really fast movement. And that's kind of the feeling that I got with the Chariot there, that once the decisions have been made and the plan or the strategy has been created, or you have some resources or tools in your tool belt to be able to help you through this a little, that sacred action is going to be really important. Coming back to that Three of Wands energy, that is sacred action based on your past experiences, of your desires, your intentions, of where it is you want to go, and following that path with that sacred action. And decisive focus, so really focusing and not letting yourself get distracted by setbacks or mistakes or kind of old patterns that try to come back and coax you into an old self. So really being focused, keeping your eyes on the prize is what I'm hearing. So I'll just read a little bit from the guidebook. This swift cat represents decisive action and intense focus. Take an honest look at projects or situations that have for some reason been put on hold. Interesting that we talked about that, because it is with the Chariot in the sideways position and the Hanged One here, something's been put on hold. So that's just confirmation there. Perhaps you've been waiting for a better time, unsure of what you want to focus on or even what to take action on. This card is telling you to let go of the hesitation. Your soul longs for you to move forward on your path. Whether your goal is personal, professional, or spiritual, you have the power to manifest whatever you desire. Now is the time to resolve, to pick a direction that calls to your heart and act. Let go of your self-doubt and fear of making the wrong decision. The strength of your spirit will guide you every step of the way. Your spirit may also take you into a more global direction of sacred activism. The light of shared consciousness between animal and human can help you take decisive action to make the earth and all her life forms a top priority. As your loving intention expands to encompass others, which could be that community, it accelerates the beneficial momentum and activates blessings worldwide. In this way, you have the power to heal the earth and yourself in your actions and choices every day. And we did talk about that. So there's an affirmation here. I focus on the options before me. I choose to take decisive action in the direction of my dreams. I think that's a beautiful wrap up to your reading, Soul Path 3. And I do hope that resonated and was helpful to you. I would love to know in the comments what messages stood out the most, or what pieces from any of the imagery that came through today stood out to you the most. That's always interesting for me to hear. And with gratitude, I'm sending you love. Stay curious, and I'll see you in your next reading.